This is the True Crime Nation podcast with your hosts, Todd and Brian. If you're enjoying the show or have suggestions for future shows, you can email us at truecrimenation@outlook.com. And as always, let's start the show. I am Brian, and with me as always is my co-host, Todd. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Brian, you ready to talk about some more mysterious, crazy, scary, sick, demented stuff tonight on the show?
Yeah, always. Sounds like fun.
We're going to do a little bit something different here, which might be kind of cool. I thought we could talk about mysterious disappearances in the national parks. As you know, we discussed this already.
Yep.
So going to read different little excerpts and stories of several different people who've come up missing and try to talk about what we think happened to them.
And see what's going on.
So let's just get into it. What do you say?
Right. I'm going to start with this little prelude, or you just want to jump into the first case?
You can do the prelude. You think you want to? You can do some of it.
Well, I'll do a little bit of it, and we'll
okay,
and then we'll get into it because this kind of sets up what we're talking about here.
Okay.
In the United States National Park System alone, there are more than 84 million acres, 35 million hectares, for those in Canada, of preserved woods, deserts, mountains, and other wilderness. So it's no surprise that in the past 100 years, there have been a number of cases of hikers going missing. Many of those who vanished were young children and inexperienced hikers. But some were healthy and seasoned outdoors people. But is there more to these disappearances than just kids wandering off or hikers becoming disoriented?
I think so.
I think so too. But I guess we'll get into that in a little bit. The National Park Service doesn't collect data on how many visitors disappear within the vast expanses of these parks. Indeed, most people turn up on their own accord a few days later. In 2020, Politis estimated that there had been over 1,600 unexplained disappearances in North America. That's a lot.
Yeah, they're talking about David Politis, the famous 411 missing.
Yep. That's a lot.
Yeah, 1,600 in 1 year.
Yeah. With no trace. Come on now.
We all know that there's a lot of vast wilderness out there. I mean, it's unfathomable if you really get into it. But, a person can only travel so far and do so much. And if people are looking for him, people are really looking for him, they should find him, you would think.
Yeah, you would think so. Especially, if they're inexperienced hikers, then that could be a problem. But
right,
if they're experienced outdoors people, they know what to do. Stay put.
Yeah, it's weird. We should get into some of these and see. Let's get into some of these and see what we got here.
Let's do it. Which one do you want to start with?
To start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning. Bessie and Glenn Hyde, 1928.
Okay.
4-year-old Alfred Bailhartz was the first recorded drowning in Colorado's Rocky Mountain National Park. Though whether Bailhartz actually drowned is controversial. He was camping in the park with his family over the July 4th weekend when he disappeared near the Roaring and Fall Rivers. That doesn't sound like someplace for a 4-year-old kid to be.
No, not at all.
Bailhartz had gone with his dad to bathe in the river. And from there, he decided to join two family friends at a spot about 500 feet, 150 meters upstream of where he and his father entered the river. When everyone returned to the camp, they realized that Bailhartz was missing. A search began immediately, expanding to more than 100 civilian Conservation Corps members within 45 minutes, but there was barely any sign of Bailhartz anywhere. I slowed down there because I was trying to comprehend why, for the love of God, this guy would let his 4-year-old kid walk back upriver by himself to join some family members. But again, so it was 1928, I guess.
Yeah, but who's Bessie and Glenn Hyde? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Are they in this story at all? Maybe
I don't know. That's another thing I was trying to figure out.
Maybe this story is Alfred Bailhartz.
This can't be right.
But that's fine. We can finish it and go from there.
Yeah, they probably just got the title wrong or something.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
We'll fix that.
So Alfred Balehearts is actually the story we're reading.
Okay.
A day after he disappeared, a couple hiking about 6 miles, 9.6 kilometers away from Balehearts' campsite reported seeing a boy who looked like Alfred sitting in an area called the Devil's Nest. By the time authorities arrived, though, the boy was gone. The search went on for 10 days and included 150 men, plus bloodhounds. Though the size of the search party had dwindled to a dozen by the end of the 8th day, park rangers chalked his disappearance up to drowning.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. So if those people actually did see him, he didn't drown.
Right. Right. Was that him that they saw? That's the thing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's very possible that he could have got swept away down the river. Um, but if not, and they searched for him, you think they would have found him anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah. At least tracks or traces or something because it wasn't raining or anything.
I mean,
So the
you
weather
think,
didn't go bad like what normally happens in these situations when we hear about them.
and if they would have thought the river took him, you would think they would have went downstream looking for him, as much as possible. So, I
Yeah.
mean, they searched for 10 days.
I know. And couldn't find anything. Could have
Um,
found a shoe or something.
a
So I
couple
don't know.
hiking reported seeing a boy who looked like him sitting in the area called the Devil's Nest. What is the Devil's Nest, I wonder? We could look that up and see what that's
Look
about.
that
But
up. I don't know. That
the
doesn't
Rocky
sound
Mountain
very
National Park. It could have been anybody, though, for that matter.
true. But a 4-year-old kid?
Yeah, it's true. If he was 4, he'd been a little kid. Or maybe it was the ghost of Alfred Bill Hart's.
That might have been too soon there for that one.
Well, I
I don't know
mean,
how long it takes for a ghost to manifest. I don't know.
I don't either. Well, that's an
There's another
interesting
good
one
story.
anyway. We could probably say that
That is an
he
interesting
drowned,
one.
but
I bet we could
um,
expand on that a little more. I bet there's more to it.
yeah, yeah, we can check into it and dig deeper.
For now, we'll say
Um,
he drowned. I don't think he did. He either got carried away or he walked away. One of the two.
yeah, but searching for him like that, they would have found him. You would think.
Yeah, you would think.
Again, this is 1928, maybe. Um,
Maybe.
we think it's that date. Regardless,
Yep.
yeah. So let's
Yep.
move on to the next one. What else do we got?
How about Catherine Van Alst, 1946?
All right,
And this
what's
one
she
is
do?
about her.
Got the title right.
Yep, got it right this time. 8-year-old Catherine Van Alst disappeared from Devil's Den State Park near Arkansas's Ozark National Forest. See, all these places where these kids are disappearing sound evil.
They do.
Devil's Den, Devil's Nest.
They do. Maybe there's a reason why they call them that.
Where she and her family were camping. Van Alst apparently was playing with her brothers when she wandered off and got lost and couldn't find her way back. What makes her disappearance remarkable is that when she was found after 6 days wandering the woods, she was eerily calm.
Oh, so they found her.
Yeah. University of Arkansas student Porter Chadwick was part of the search party that found Van Alst. She told the Pittsburgh Press that when he found her, she walked stoically out of a cave and just said, "Here I am." She had survived on berries and spent nights sleeping in caves. Many other hikers have gotten lost in that part of the Ozarks and not been as lucky as Van Alst. All right. And this is an 8-year-old girl.
How many days was she missing? Did
6
it say?
days.
Here I am.
Dad, there ain't no way there's this 8-year-old girl surviving on her own for 6 days in a cave.
You got to have water.
Yeah.
Where'd she get water from?
I don't know. Just said she survived on berries and sleeping in caves. That's
That's
something. They
interesting.
left something out of this story.
Yeah, it's too short to mention, and then not that one we need to dig into more
Yeah, because
definitely.
that actually that might be
And
for
I've
the other.
seen that
That
name
might be for
pop
the other
up.
show.
I've seen that name pop up over
So
and over. So we may do just an episode on her for those of you listening
yeah,
about
because
this.
that's pretty amazing. I mean, that's great that they found her, but there's not many 8-year-old kids that could survive like that on their own. So
No,
something else is happening there.
and no kid just plays games like that and of hide and seek. Oh, you found me.
Right.
Here I
For
am.
6 days.
Interesting. Okay, well,
Yeah. So we'll have to
that's
mark
one
that
for the
one down
books. I'm going to
for
write that one
expanding.
down.
We'll
Okay,
expand on that one.
moving on.
All right. This one is, we got a little newer, a little more modern.
Well, you can skip around. I'm just going in chronological order. So if
How
you want to
about we
go,
do,
you want to do a more recent one, we can go to the front. You got 2021s in here if you want.
there's the one everybody knows right there. Gabby
What?
Petito, 2021. That's still fresh in everybody's memory.
I don't really
Mm-hmm.
recall that one, to be
That's
honest
the
with
one
you.
where she was
Oh, that's the girl that was killed by
her
her
boyfriend.
boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Were they in a
And we're going to
national
save that
park?
one because we're going to expand on that one for real. This is too short to get into
Yeah,
now, but
yeah.
we're going to do we're going to do a whole separate show on that
Yep, we got
completely.
that one.
Yep. Let's do John Devine, 1997.
All right.
According to Pennsylvania Daily News, Olympic National Park in northern Washington state has a feature that's not as majestic as its mountain views. At least 4 hikers have mysteriously disappeared from the area in the past 25 years, one of whom was 73-year-old John Devine. In 1997, Devine planned to hike into the park from Mount Baldy. We've heard a lot about Mount Baldy too.
Yeah, we have. This
So
is
the
in
trails,
this
what?
is the Olympic National Park. Okay, in Washington. Where? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
my bad.
Mm-hmm. The trail is a tough 24 miles, and though Devine was elderly, he was also an experienced long distance hiker. Devine was camping with his friend Greg Balzer. They split up the day that Devine went missing. Balzer went off to hunt while Devine took off on a day hike. Devine never returned. The fruitless search for Devine lasted a full week until a rescue helicopter crash killed 3 people and injured 5 others. By that time, weather conditions had deteriorated, making the chances of finding Devine slim. Friends and family said that Devine wouldn't want to put people in danger on his behalf, and the search was called off. The search helicopter's crash is as mysterious as Devine's disappearance. Before takeoff, the pilot used a hand signal indicating that he was going to wait 5 minutes for conditions to improve before attempting it. A moment later, the helicopter departed vertically without warning and crashed into the side of a mountain. Wow.
So the guy says, "I'm going to wait 5 minutes," and then he takes off.
And then just took off and
Changes
smacked
his
in the
mind.
mountain.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Hmm.
And as you know, we've talked about this before. The weather always comes into play.
The weather is always
It seems like.
in most of these stories that we hear of people disappearing in the parks, weather always screws them up somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that one's interesting too. This guy's older, obviously. I mean, he could have just slipped and fell off the side of a mountain. Who knows?
could have, or his
Could
friend could have killed him.
could have been killed by a mountain lion. You know, I
Could have
mean,
been
or
killed by his friend and said, "No, I went hunting. I don't know where he went."
yeah, that's true. Don't know what was in it for him, but
Who knows? Banging his wife? I don't know.
the Olympic National Park in Washington, that's somewhere we both want to go and check out. That's a
Yes,
very, very
yes.
cool area.
Yep.
But it probably rains a lot up there, probably snows, I'm guessing. So
Oh, I'm sure. Well, it's Washington, and they
I
say
wonder
that
what
Olympic National Park is pretty much a rainforest.
I wonder what changed that pilot's mind. Unless somebody that was with him said, "No, let's go now. Let's get it up. Let's get up there. Don't
I don't
wait."
know. I don't know. It's weird the way they said it too, because he said he was going to wait 5 minutes for conditions to improve, and a moment later, the helicopter departed vertically, which means straight up,
Yep,
without warning, and crashed in the side of a mountain. So he
that's
didn't even take
strange.
off normally. He just went.
That's very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Very strange.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a wild one right there, man. We have to figure that one out too.
What do you want to do next here?
Let's see. Douglas Legg, 1971.
All right.
Douglas Legg and some of his family were heading out for a hike in the Adirondack Forest Preserves, Santanoni Preserve. Let me read that again. We're heading out for a hike in the Adirondack Forest Preserves, Santanoni Preserve.
Santanoni,
Sorry
maybe?
about that. Maybe. When his uncle spotted poison ivy and told Legg to put on long pants to protect himself. The family's cabin was a short, straight shot from where they were, but 8-year-old Legg never returned. He's not a fucking 8-year-old kid. Unlike a lot of the kids who have gone missing in national parks, Legg was very familiar with these woods. His family owned the cabin where they were staying and described Legg as a mini woodsman because they all hiked there together so often. Legg's disappearance sparked one of the southern Adirondacks' largest search and rescue missions, with more than 600 people searching the woods. But like Martin, Legg left no trail. Unlike the Martin case, though, rescuers used dogs in their search. Some accounts describe dogs following Legg's scent over a 30-mile, 48-kilometer trail through difficult terrain. How could a young child have traveled alone for such a distance? Some searchers reported seeing bear-like tracks near the site, while black bears do drag their prey to cover, dragging someone to cover their prey. Dragging someone 30 miles over difficult terrain seems unusual. The family became desperate and began suspecting each other and even their friends of abducted Legg. Sorry. The family became desperate and began suspecting each other and even their friends of abducting Legg. But the police were certain that the mini woodsman had simply gotten lost. He was never found. All right, so this is one of those. They
They were
tracked him for a long distance.
they they talked about the Martin case.
Yeah, Dennis
What?
Martin.
Yeah, they're talking about the Dennis Martin case, which we've done an
Mhm.
episode on already.
Yep.
Same kind of situation. So
Mm-hmm.
you're hiking down a trail with a kid. You see poison ivy. You say, "You know what? Go put some pants on." That tells me right there he was not. They were not very far down the trail. They couldn't
Right.
have been that far because you go down a mile. So you're not going to say, "Oh, go ahead and go back." Um,
Right.
so it had been fairly quick into the walk. They couldn't have been far.
Right.
So
You would think.
this kid goes back, never shows back up. Apparently, they go back to the cabin. Can't find him. Weird bear-like track. Bear-like. What's
Yeah.
bear-like mean?
Big.
I mean, bear tracks are obvious. So what does bear like? They didn't know if they were bear tracks.
Well, they say when bears walk, that sometimes they can, they step into their front track and it makes a bigger track.
I'm gonna go out on a limb
I
here
don't know,
too.
man.
I'm gonna go on a limb here too and say there's no grizzlies or brown bears in the Adirondacks.
Nope.
I've spent a lot of time in the Adirondacks and I've seen a lot of bears in the Adirondacks. And every time I've seen these bears, they want nothing to do with humans. And I really don't think one's gonna grab an 8-year-old kid and drag him off.
Out
What
for
they say,
30 miles.
30 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's an interesting one. We should circle that one
Yeah, we'll get
and
back to
dig into
that one
that one
too, because
more.
that
I think
definitely is.
there's some more that's going on to
Also,
that story.
yeah, and if anybody listening knows anything more about these stories that we're talking about, let us know.
Yeah, get a hold of us.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot us an email at
TrueCrimeNation@outlook.com.
yep. Or if you hear some of these short stories we're talking about and you would like us to dive in deeper and do a whole episode on it, let us know that too. We'd definitely like to hear from you guys. So
Absolutely. Yeah, these are fun.
which one you
Let's
thinking next?
see. Oh, let's do the CN McLaughlin 2021.
All right, 2021, about a year or so ago.
All right. A 27-year-old Irishman visiting Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming has been missing since June 2021. The last known sighting of Dublin native CN McLaughlin points him heading in the direction of Taggart Lake. This is located on an 8-mile trail that is very difficult in nature. When he didn't show up to work, he was reported missing. He held dual U.S. and Irish citizenship. His car was found nearby and kicked off a search that formally ended 2 weeks later. 45 helicopter searches and other high tech tools have yet to reveal any information about his whereabouts. His family and the U.S. National Park Service have since put out a poster with a photo and details as well as the hashtag FindCN to keep him top of mind for visitors to the area. The disappearance is extra puzzling as his uncle described that particular trailhead as his favorite. Another hiker reported seeing McLaughlin without a backpack, so it appeared that he had just gone out for a walk.
45 helicopter searches.
That's what it said. And other high tech tools. And nobody can find them.
I mean, I've been to the Grand Teton National. I've not been. I'm sorry. Let me back up. I haven't been to the Grand Teton National Park. I've known some people that have. I do know it's a huge area, huge mountain range.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the Tetons are massive.
so I don't know if this guy was. Apparently, he wasn't climbing to the top of this thing. He was out in an area where other people were hanging out. But 45 helicopter searches.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened to this guy. He fell in a hole or something.
Had to have found fell in a cave, a crevasse, as if you will.
His skeleton's probably still there.
Probably.
Just got to know where to look. And if he was on his favorite hiking trail, then they should definitely go back and just trace every
Yeah, just
inch
walk
right
that
and
trail.
left, up and down of that trail,
Mm-hmm.
where he could have slipped off, where he could have, fell, whatever. He didn't have his backpack, which is interesting. But if he was just going for a little hike,
Yeah, so it must have just been a little day walk or trip or whatever.
his
Still,
car was found nearby. I mean,
yeah, still weird. Still a weird situation there.
yeah, it's one thing if these guys you don't hear back from them and they find him and they fell and died, broke their neck, something to that effect, which could have happened here too. Or he could have been taken by an animal or something.
Something.
Maybe the
Taken
reason they
by
don't find
something.
these people is because they get ate, almost completely up. Who knows?
Maybe. Maybe.
All right, moving on.
Let's see. How about Paul Weldon, 1946.
Good old Paul Weldon. What'd he do?
There's an area in Green Mountain National Forest near Glastonbury Mountain and Vermont's Long Trail that believers in the paranormal call Bennington Triangle. Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
The area got this name because of a handful of mysterious disappearances which occurred between 1945 and 1950. Although many more have been recorded over the years, paranormal author Joseph A. Citro coined the term because of the supposedly supernatural circumstances surrounding these vanishings. Paul Weldon was the second person to go missing in the area of Green Mountain National Forest during this period. I'm sorry, Paula. Sorry. 18-year-old Weldon was a college student who set out on the long trail in December 1946. She was dressed for walking and not a long hike, wearing jeans, a coat, and sneakers. Her attire implied that she planned to return before dark, when temperatures were supposed to dip below freezing. Weldon told her roommate that she was taking a long walk and she never returned.
She meant what she said.
Yeah, that's for real. That was a long walk. Several people spotted her as she hitchhiked her way to the trail and walked to the trailhead. When Weldon didn't come back by dark, her roommate let the school know, and the search began. Classes were suspended, so students couldn't help with the search. The process was disorganized at first until Weldon's father called in favors from police in two surrounding states. Unfortunately, the search didn't pan out, and frustrated family and friends had their own theories about what happened to her. Did Weldon run off with a boyfriend? Was she abducted? Did she commit suicide? Or did she die of exposure because of her inappropriate attire? No one has discovered her body, so her disappearance remains a mystery. There's a rumor that this area of the Long Trail is home to a creature called the Bennington Monster. Could this Sasquatch like animal have something to do with the disappearance? One positive outcome of the case was that the lack of organization in the search for Paula Weldon led to the creation of the Vermont State Police, which is responsible for all wilderness search and rescue missions in the state. This is one good thing that came out of
Yeah, I'm gonna circle this one too. I want to dig more into this one.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
There's a lot more going on there.
and some of these other ones we didn't bring it up, but they talk at the end about the Bennington monster or a Sasquatch like animal. If Bigfoot are out there and they exist, they definitely could be grabbing these people or these kids. It's very
Absolutely,
possible. You
absolutely.
gotta talk about it. You can't rule out the possibility.
Especially if there's no trace. No, I mean, yeah, they could have fallen in a hole or a cave or something, but man,
Or alien abduction.
you at least have to entertain the idea that
Sure.
something else might have happened.
Yeah. Or alien abduction, something to that effect.
Right.
Um, but I got it. Okay, she's 18 years old. She's
Yep.
going out on a long walk. She tells her friend,
Taking a long walk. Yep.
taking a long walk, and she's not really dressed for the weather.
Right.
So here's what I'm thinking she's doing. She's meeting somebody. Somebody's picking her up. Somebody's picking her up, and they're going for a little drive, something to that effect. I don't think she's
Little
going.
rendezvous.
Yeah, she's meeting up with a boy. And I think that person that she met up with probably is the reason she met her demise. So the question is who is she talking to and who is she hanging out? Is anyone still alive that would even know
Right. Exactly.
that possibility? I mean,
That's the problem with these. It's been a long time.
it's hard to pin down due to technology not being where it is today.
Right.
Back then, but it's still very interesting. Like we said before, there's been serial killers and crazy people since the dawn of time, and even back in 1946, people come up missing, and people
Yeah.
were abducted by other people. I'm guessing that's probably what happened to her here, because no one says I'm going for a long walk and not dressed for it.
Exactly.
Why would you say long walk? What do you just look at your family sometimes and say I'm going for a long walk and just go for a couple hours and come back? I mean,
Nope.
or just even a drive, you
First
know
of
what
all,
I
my
mean?
family would wonder what the hell was going on if I told them that.
Right. But or even for a long drive, do you do that? She was trying to cover herself for some time.
I
To
used
me,
to. I don't do that anymore.
sounded like. And being that she wasn't completely dressed for the weather,
Yeah. Right, exactly.
she was planning on being in a vehicle or
Definitely wasn't dressed for
somewhere.
hiking.
Right.
So, yeah, she was planning on other things besides what she told them she was doing. So,
And I think those other things again met her demise. That's my outtake on that one. But I would like to dig into it more,
yeah,
possibly.
no, I think you're right. I think that one's definitely there's more to it than what meets the eye.
If we could get more clues and know more things about this, yeah, we might be able to pinpoint that down.
Maybe.
And I've seen her name pop up several times in other cases I've searched around for. So,
Yeah, maybe. Again, if somebody out there has heard some more about this or any of these stories that we talked about tonight, let us know.
yes, definitely.
We're on Instagram, True Crime Nation. We're on Facebook, True Crime Nation. We're on Twitter, True Crime Nation.
We're everywhere.
We're
Just
everywhere.
look for us.
Yep, we're like Visa. We're everywhere you want to be. Please don't sue us.
Now, why would you say that? Are we continuing? Or are we going to wrap it up? What do you want to do?
I
here?
think we can wrap it up. I think that's good.
Okay.
That's enough. That's a lot for them to think about.
Yeah. Good stories, and we'll look for some more and try to bring you guys some more content. Like I said, might break those down and do a full episode on some of those. So
Yeah, definitely a couple of them.
Brian, thanks for being here with me. Another good episode, my friend.
Yeah, man, always fun.
Listeners, thanks for being here. And remember,
Monsters are real.
okay.